Well, we got ourselves a beautiful night for baseball here in Washington, D.C. The Phils' first trip to Nationals Park, and the Phillies fans venturing down as they often do. The weather should be great tonight and even moving forward. Hey, it's a filibuster. The presidents are rolling along the concourse. They're not letting anybody else talk. They're doing all the chatter. How about that here in Washington? It's the Phils and the Nats, game one of a three-game series. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Ben Davis. We get set for the Phillies and the Nationals, second series of the year. And the Phillies are going to have to figure out how to solve the guy batting third. That's Bryce Harper. Everybody else has that problem, too. But he was tearing up the Phils the last time they saw him.
Well, that's what happens when you face the best player in all of baseball. Sorry to all those South Jersey lovers of Mike Trout, but Bryce Harper is the best player in baseball. Currently, there's not a way to get him out. Peppering fastballs, peppering righties, peppering lefties. The man can do it all. He can run the bases. He plays a good outfield. He'll even steal a base whenever you need him to. He is that good, and he's a guy that right now cannot throw a strike to.
Or throw fastballs to. Now, this is the seventh fastball of this at-bat. He was a pinch hitter in the ninth inning. He tied the game that eventually went 16 innings that the Nationals won on Sunday.
He can do it all. Like I said, so much for the day off. Nice to have Bryce Harper coming off your bench to go up top and tie the ball game.
At least 9 home runs through the first 18 games. The only other Washington-Montreal player who did that, Henry Rodriguez, back in '96. He had 25 RBIs through 18 games. That's pretty amazing numbers right there. So the Phils will have to deal with him tonight and for the rest of this series. It's game one of a three-game set. It'll be Vince Velasquez on the hill for the Phils, firing fastballs. Max Scherzer coming off a poor start his last time out. He'll be making his fifth start for Washington. Lineups at first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota. Toyota's hybrid fleet is nothing short of a home run. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. By Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. Let's take a look at the Phillies lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. It'll be Herrera, Blanco, and Franco, Howard, Rupp, and Lowe, followed by Cesar Hernandez. Vince Velasquez batting 8th, and Peter Bourjos batting 9th. And they will face right-hander Max Scherzer. He is all ready. I mean, he's already finished his warm-up tosses. They've thrown it down to second. They've thrown it around. He's dusted off the mound, and he wants to fire the first pitch to Odubel Herrera. This is his 5th start of the season. And the first pitch taken upstairs. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Well, we've seen him enough now, Ben, to understand what the scouting report is.
Sit right about 94. He's a 5-pitch pitcher. Very good breaking ball. Will mix in some change-ups, but very good against the Phillies.
He delivers one inside to Herrera, so it's 2 balls and no strikes. And we say 5-pitch pitcher. He does throw 5 pitches.
Yes.
And it depends on which one is working, the secondary ones, as to how much he throws them. Herrera takes way inside this time. It's 3-0. Odubel's reached base safely in 16 consecutive games. He's riding a 6-game hitting streak overall. And he takes high, ball 4. He walks on 4 pitches. And for Odubel Herrera, that is the 18th walk of the season. Remember, he didn't even reach 30 walks last year.
There goes the perfect game.
Time now for our Nissan keys to the game.
Don't harp on giving Bryce strikes. You know what I'm doing there, Tom?
I see.
Play on words. Hottest hitter in the land. You don't have to feed him strikes all day. And I'd like to see the Phillies get a little bit more production from the bottom of that line.
Yeah, that includes Cesar Hernandez, who's 1 for 8 against Washington this year. Peter Bourjos, who is 2 for 8. Andres Blanco is playing today for Freddie Galvis, who is available to pinch hit. Blanco is 1 for 3 lifetime against Max Scherzer. Freddie was a little under the weather yesterday, so Pete decided to sit him to start today's ball game. Let him go through a pregame routine, make sure he's feeling up to speed. No balls and 1 strike. Blanco hitting .273, no home runs, 3 runs batted in. 0 for 4 in the series against the Brewers. Andres has to call time. I mean, that's the 2nd time Scherzer took an awfully long time. Tonight's Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Jay Levin of Plymouth Meeting. Phillies hit a home run in today's ball game. Then Jay will win $200.
Good luck, Jay.
Blanco hits it in the air to right center field. That's well hit. Taylor's on the run. It is gone. A 2-run first inning home run for Andres Blanco. And the Phils strike first, and they lead it 2-0.
And there goes the no-hitter. What a good-looking swing there by Andres Blanco. Way to go, Whitey.
Well, a nice way to start this evening. And for Pete McCannon rolling the dice, putting Blanco in there, he comes through.
Short swing, powerful swing. It's a pitch here. That was right down the middle. Good play by that fan out there in right field.
Michael Franco waves at the breaking ball. It's 0-1. Phillies have scored a lot of runs recently, but first inning runs have been tough to come by. By the way, Jay Levin of Plymouth Meeting, we're going to start your night off on a good note. You've won $200 thanks to Andres Blanco and the McDonald's home run jackpot.
Way to go, Jay.
It's not often that you tie those two together in the first inning.
It's not.
1 ball, 1 strike to Franco. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. That was a cutter. Franco was 1 for 12 in the series against the Nationals, included the game against Scherzer. He's had a little bit of trouble against Scherzer. Andres Blanco did not. And the dirt, 2-2. Nationals shift a little bit on Michael Franco. He fouls it over the screen. I have to say, this is a very subdued crowd for this Max Scherzer start. Kind of quiet out there right now. 2-run home runs in the first, I guess, will do that too.
That'll do it.
Ground ball left side, cut off by Rendon. One gone here in the first. Now that'll bring Ryan Howard to the plate. The Phillies are feeling a little bit better about their offense, not only because of the 2 runs that they scored here on this home run by Andres Blanco, but against the Milwaukee Brewers this past weekend, they scored 20 runs in a 3-game series, which is way above what the average had been, runs per game. In fact, if you stretch it back the last 4 games, they're at 25 runs, which is an average of just a little more than 6 per game. Howard takes a breaking ball on the outside corner. Phillies hit .306 against the Brewers in the 3-game series. They had 10 extra base hits. That one's off the hands into shallow left center field. Taylor comes sprinting in, and he puts it away. Bring Cameron Rupp to the plate. Well, we do not want to rub it in, but the temperature tonight, 81 degrees. There are a chance of thunderstorms down here. In fact, they're heading down from the Pennsylvania area. The hope is that they will miss us.
Severe storms back home, from what I've gathered.
One to Cameron Rupp. Rupp was 2 for 7 in the series against the Brewers. Cameron hitting .286, a home run, 2 runs batted in. He does have a home run against Scherzer. Fastball off the inside part of the plate. Angel Hernandez is the home plate umpire tonight. So that means you got to be on your toes a little bit as a catcher. Might have some conversations with Angel. Now back, and it's 1-2. He goes behind the plate. Will Little's at first. Ted Barrett is at second base. He's the crew chief, and Sean Barber is around at third. This is the second time the Phillies have had this crew.
And this crew is the home opener against the Padres.
Swing and a miss. He tried to hold up. He went around in a slider, and the side is retired. But Andres Blanco has given the Phils the early lead. His 2-run home run to right center field has started the scoring for the Phils. Boy, that ball tailed right back into his swing. For Blanco, it's his first homer, and the Phils are up 2-0. On his toothpick in his mouth as his return to the managerial level with the Washington Nationals. Let's take a look at his lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Michael Taylor leads it off in center field, then Anthony Rendon and Bryce Harper. Ryan Zimmerman's at first base. Daniel Murphy's at second. He'll bat fifth. Jason Worth hits sixth. And the bottom third of Espinosa, Lobaton, and then Scherzer. And they will face 23-year-old right-hander Vince Velasquez. I think everybody, Ben, is intrigued to see Velasquez. He comes in with a 2-1 record and a 0.93 ERA. His stuff wasn't quite as electric his last time out as it was against the Padres.
And I didn't expect it to be. because of the 116 pitches that he threw in that 16 strikeout performance against those Padres. But it was still pretty sharp. Take a look at the scouting report. It'll sit about 94. The curveball is his very good out pitch, averaging just under 15 pitches per inning.
Michael Taylor's the batter. He takes a strike. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Taylor hitting a .185 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs, 2 for 8 in the series against the Twins. 1 ball and 1 strike to Taylor. And he fouls that one back. So the last time out, Velasquez was hitting 94, 95, but it almost seemed like he was fatigued earlier. Now, he was battling an illness the 2 days prior to it, and that was mentioned after the game, but he said that didn't have anything to do with the fact that I lasted just 4+ innings.
He is a max effort guy, but it seemed, you're right, that his last outing he was really trying to get that extra velocity on the baseball.
1-2 pitch, a high fastball, and it's 2-2. That's a pretty close pitch there. Michael Taylor is playing center field and leading off for Ben Revere, who took batting practice today with the Nationals, and they're hoping he'll be ready to go when they go on the next road trip. Another foul ball, and it remains 2-2. Taylor's gotten some time these last couple of years out in the outfield. I think they expected a little bit more from him. Although, what was it, game 1 against the Phillies? He homered on the first pitch. He doesn't necessarily work the counts. Another fastball. That one at 96. There's Big Ben. We didn't really see his face the last time the Phillies played the Nationals because he was bundled up as if it was 15 degrees outside. Another fastball, cut out and missed, and there's out number 1. Well, he just challenged it with 1 fastball after another.
He did. I thought he was going to mix in a breaking ball at some point, but he said, no, I'm going to challenge you. Paid off for him. Just a fastball that just is by him. Good feeling if you're a pitcher.
Well, he was frustrated when he fouled off the second ball that he threw at 95 miles an hour. So I think he was a little happier when he threw the 96 mile an hour right by him. Anthony Rendon's the batter, hitting .243 with no home runs and an RBI. First pitch is a little low, and it's 1-0. Rendon has reached base safely in 11 consecutive games. Out of everybody in the Nationals lineup, he played the most against the Twins. Down the right field line, that's out of play, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. To right field. Going back on it is Peter Borges. He has plenty of room. And he makes the catch, 2 away. That'll bring Bryce Harper to the plate. It's time for our Cadillac home run replay. 3 home runs the last time the Phillies faced the Nationals.
He was on fire, like I said, against righties and lefties, fastballs, breaking balls. He is getting it done.
That one went right out over the plate. Out to right center field. Visit your local Cadillac dealer for attractive lease and finance offers. He is currently the National League leader in home runs. I'm interested to see if the Phillies pitch him differently in this series. Now, it's harder to do that if you're Velasquez, because he is, as you said, been a max effort guy.
Yes.
Pitches it low, and it's 1-0.
The team in general is a very good fastball hitting club.
Just a bit outside, 2-0. I think Velasquez wanted that one. Phillies do have the overshift on with 3 infielders on the right side, including Michael Franco, just to the right of second base. Foul ball, and it's 2-1. I mentioned the other day he had the day off on Sunday against the Twins. as you look at his numbers against the Phillies in the last 11 games. And they put him up against Kevin Jepson, the closer for the Twins, and he was firing fastballs, and Harper was spending some time timing those fastballs. And finally, on the 7th fastball, he tied the game up, and then he rested because he didn't play after that.
A lot of the writers before the game were wondering why Dusty didn't leave him in the ball game.
It was an off day, man.
It was an off day.
Outside, ball 4. Although the Nationals did have yesterday off, and he spent it at the Smithsonian in D.C. taking selfies with kids wearing his jersey who had no idea he was taking selfies with those kids.
That's where Sammy was. Sammy went to the Smithsonian yesterday.
Sammy was wearing a Bryce Harper jersey he may have taken a selfie with. That'll bring Ryan Zimmerman to the plate, hitting just .250, a home run, 6 RBIs. Harper's got a good sized lead over at first base. And a fly ball to shallow center field. Hernandez is out, Odubel's in, and Herrera makes the catch. And the side is retired. Pretty nice first inning for Vince Velasquez. A shutdown inning will go to the second. The Phillies on top, 2-0. We go to the top of the second inning. Phillies up 2-0. And the first pitch from Scherzer is taken on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Max Scherzer's last 6 games against the Phillies is 5-0 with an ERA of 1.29. Phillies are trying to solve him. As Lowe grounds it foul, and it's quickly 0-2. His last time out, Scherzer went 5. He allowed 8 hits and 5 earned runs. It was a 5-1 loss to the Miami Marlins. It's the 5th time since he signed with the Nationals that he has given up 5 earned runs or more. The last time he did it, he followed it up with an 8-inning, 5-hit, no run, 6 strikeout performance. Ball and 2 strikes to Lowe. And he grounds that one to first. Backheaded by Zimmerman. 1 away.
Hit the ball sharply. You'd like to see that, especially on that good breaking ball that Max can throw up there.
Well, that'll bring Cesar Hernandez to the plate. The number 7 batter, Murph, in tonight's lineup.
Yeah, 7, 8, 9. You know, it was one of Ben's keys to the game. The Phillies really do need to get more production out of the bottom half of their lineup, and a big part of it is Cesar Hernandez, as he is in that 7, 8, 9 spot nowadays very often. Pete talked about him having to make adjustments. You know, he's a guy that when he essentially won the job last year when Chase Utley was hurt, he was a guy that was getting on base by both walking and getting base hits, and then you notice that the league was kind of getting a book on him. Take a look at the 7, 8, 9 hitters for the Phils. The numbers, they are not good. Batting just 196, but that certainly is good to see. 3 home runs, 16 RBIs, just 16 runs as well. The slugging percentage not very good either. So the production out of that 7, 8, 9 has to be better, and a big part of that is Hernandez. He just has to start, Pete says, adjusting to the soft stuff. And if he's able to do that, he thinks, you know, he'll be able to kind of regain that form that we saw at the end of last season, at the very beginning of this season. So 7, 8, 9 is a big part of it. That's one of the keys to the game, guys.
I thought Pete was very candid today when talking about batting Velasquez or any pitcher in the 8 spot. He said, listen, I've got guys that are struggling right now. He goes, when they stop struggling, then I will move them out of the number 9 hole. Velasquez up there probably to bunt, with Hernandez leading off first. That's why Scherzer threw over, see if he can get him to show his hand. He does, and the ball is off the glove of Lobato, and Hernandez will go to second base.
It's good heads-up baseball there by Cesar. You want to get a good secondary lead to begin with, because you know that Vince is squaring around the bunt. So if he does happen to bunt it hard back to Scherzer, you have still a good secondary lead to get to second base. He's able to do that on the wild pitch.
How about this? He's swinging away with the runner at second base. Now, this is kind of interesting, the philosophy here. He may square around eventually, but Velasquez can swing the bat a little bit.
Yes, he can.
I thought maybe he'd still have him bunt and get him over to third and maybe get him in with less than 2 outs.
2-0 count here. Turn it loose.
Turn it loose. Hits it down the right field line at a play. Vince 1 for 6. This is the first year he's had any plate appearances. Outside corner, 2-2. Scherzer now 31 years old, former first-round pick of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Very concerned about Cesar Hernandez.
Extremely concerned, Tom. Can never be too careful.
Espinosa's keeping him close at second. Swing and a miss, and Velasquez is struck out. So 2 away. We return home. The Phillies will take on the Cleveland Indians for a weekend series. On Saturday night, Fans Feeding Families Night. Bring a non-perishable food donation and get a buy one, get one free ticket to a future game. See Phillies.com/feedingfamilies. Don't forget, too, Sunday is StubHub Mother's Appreciation Day. It's a 2:35 start because of the Broad Street Run. So tickets can be purchased anytime by going to Phillies.com. Here's Peter Borges. And a swing and a miss by Borges, a breaking ball. No balls in 1 strike. Borges hitting a .196. He had 1 hit and 4 at-bats against the Brewers. Little dribbler foul, and it's 0-2.
Being where we are, we can really see how much the ball curves, and because we're up so high, pretty much over top of the diamond. But you could see on that last pitch just how much break that pitch had.
fastball right down the chute. The side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left at second base. Middle of the second. It's 2-0. Phillies on top.
Carson Wentz or Jared Goff.
Tomorrow we'll talk to both of their college coaches.
CSN's Dave Zangaro will also join us with the latest on Sam Bradford.
We'll see you at 6 on the Comcast Network.
We go to the bottom of the second inning, and Vince Velasquez has a 2-0 lead to work with. He will face Daniel Murphy, Jason Worth, and Danny Espinosa. Murphy hitting a league-leading .397. And a pitch on the outside corner. It's no balls and 1 strike. He's reached base safely in 16 of 17 games. He's also enjoyed hitting here at Nationals Park this year as he pulls that one down the right field line. And that'll take a hop off the top of the wall. Borges will play it cleanly. And that's the first hit of the night for the Nationals.
He is so quick inside.
It's remarkable how well he hits the Phillies.
So quick. I fully expected that to be a pop-up to right field or second base. I mean, this ball, he just gets the bat head out, and it is lightning. Short and compact.
Well, he's in scoring position, and that brings Jason Worth to the plate. Worth hitting just .204 with 3 home runs. He has 4 doubles. He's enjoyed some success against his former team. Camera up with Vince Velasquez going over some signs, I guess, as they go out and chat.
You'd have to think so. Sometimes pitchers just get so wrapped up in the moment they just flat out forget what sign you're going with. Better go out there than take a heater off the gut, which never felt good.
Off the glove of Cameron Rupp. Was he crossed up on it? Or did he just miss it? Or was it in the dirt?
I believe it was in the dirt. I was watching it live down below instead of the monitor.
Well, they scored a wild pitch.
Yeah. Definitely a wild pitch.
Yeah, Kem's out to the mound and chatting with Velasquez.
Lengthy talk.
I wondered if they were crossed up again. outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Tonight's ball game is also available in Spanish. Just use the SAP button on your television and change the language through the menu on your cable box.
See.
Swing and a miss, and it's 2-1. Angel and Bill are here in D.C. enjoying some time in our nation's capital. Two balls and 1 strike to Worth. On the inside corner with a breaking pitch, and it's 2-2. See if he challenges him here. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Very beneficial call here. I thought that ball was up initially.
Swing and a miss. He got it with a 94-mile-an-hour heater. That's the second strikeout for Velasquez. And 2 away, or 1 away, excuse me, with Denny Espinosa coming up.
Give him another heater. Just by him. Flat out by him. It is odd to see Jason Worth in the 6 hole.
Well, this is a good lineup. Now, you take Harper's numbers out of the lineup, and average-wise, they're a 234 team, but they are able to provide some pop and some extra base hits. Espinosa bunts to the right side. Now he's going to be out, but a run will score. 4-3 on the putout. He'll get an RBI though, and it's a 2-1 ball game. Well, it worked.
Sure did.
6 RBIs for Espinosa, who has really struggled this year. So maybe that's why he did it. He thought maybe he can surprise everybody and get a bunt base hit, but more importantly, get the run home.
He's really struggled here in DC. A very firm butt. He takes a little bit off of that. He's going to beat that out for sure.
2 away, and Jose Lobaton will be the batter. Lobaton is playing tonight because Wilson Ramos is on the bereavement list. On the outside corner, it's 0-1. Now that is a big bat to be missing if you're the Nationals.
Yes. And he does a nice job defensively as well.
Toward left field, David Lowe over toward the line and makes the catch in foul territory. Side is retired. The Nationals do get a run. They get 1 hit. The run came home on a bunt. We'll go to the 3rd. It's 2-1 Phils. Go to the fan section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Ben, the question is, who was the last Phillies pitcher to strike out 10 Nationals in a game? The answer will be revealed a little later on in the ball game.
A good one.
In between innings, Bob McClure and Vince Velasquez chatting at the foot of the dugout. Vince is a pretty intense guy. He's a great competitor. I mean, for a 23-year-old, he's got a pretty good grasp on the whole competitive nature of the game.
Yes, he goes about it the right way. You can see that he is intense, but doesn't let it dominate him.
Odubel walked and scored his first time up on the home run by Blanco. And by the way, the official score has given Denny Espinosa a sacrifice, not a squeeze, but just a sacrifice on that bunt to second base. So no at bat, an RBI. 1 ball, no strikes to Odubel. Although he was bunting for a base hit. I do remember, it may have been a year or so ago, talking to some official scorers that if somebody does bunt, if there's somebody on third, they generally do give a sacrifice. And you brought that up in between innings. You also brought up the fact that he was 2 for 23, 2 for his last 23 here in Washington. So he's thinking, I'm not going to hit this guy. I'm going to get this run. Inside, 3-1 to Odubel.
Odubel's seen 7 pitches thus far and only 1 strike.
Blanco waits on deck. Fouls it away. Scherzer's last time out against the Phillies went 7, struck out 7, allowed 1 earned run, and just 5 hits. He's allowed 2 hits so far tonight. 3 balls, 2 strikes to Odubel Herrera. Outside, ball 4. He walks for the second time. And here comes Andres Blanco in the first inning. Gave the Phils the early lead.
Good looking swing here. He didn't know it was out, but had good jump off his bat. Put the good guys up in gray by 2 runs.
First home run for Blanco. It's the 18th home run the Phillies have hit this year. I don't think Max Scherzer really has a great pickoff move over to first. His feet move, but the ball really doesn't move over to the bat.
No.
Odubel went and then stopped. And it's no balls and 1 strike to Blanco.
He was wise to stop. Not a very good jump. Despite not having a very good move to first base, best thing that Scherzer does is he's able to hold the ball out on the mound. Screws up the timing of the base runner and also the hitter.
No balls, 1 strike. And now time is called. Now, Murph, we saw Herrera do. That's something that Mickey Morandini told you the other day that he wants more base runners to do, is if they don't have a good jump, don't go.
Yeah, he doesn't want them to force it. He wants them to run. The team wants them to run. They want to be aggressive. They've been preaching that since the very first day of spring training. But the bottom line is, if you know you didn't get a good jump, if you spin your wheels or you just didn't get off the bag quick enough, get back. They don't want you to go, because we've seen time and time again this season the Phil's base runners have been thrown out at second base, and a lot of that has to do with not getting good jumps.
Well, and as Ben said, he was smart to do it because that wasn't a very good jump against Scherzer. Now he could pick a spot at some point and just take off. He's got a guy that can handle the bat at the plate. No balls, 1 strike to Blanco. See, I like this. I like the fact that Blanco has done this. Now, Angel has given time late twice, but I think if Scherzer's going to hold it that long, then if you're Blanco, you have the right to ask for time.
I will say that I could not stand when pitchers did that to me. It really messed with my rhythm at home plate.
And that ball nearly hit him. It short hopped the catcher, Lobaton. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, an update from down in Atlanta. Travis Shaw's 3-run home run has given the Red Sox a 4-1 lead over the Braves. Atlanta's in the bottom of the National League East. They're a little concerned about Julio Teheran's velocity. It's down about 4 miles an hour over the last 4 years. It continues to progressively get lower. 1 ball, 1 strike to Blanco. Swing and a miss. He's throwing something soft, and it's 1-2.
Changeup. Doesn't throw too many. Well, he was kind of scratching his head there, like, is that really a changeup?
Toss over to first base. That's a little better move than what he showed before. He fouls it back over the screen. You know, what Scherzer's doing is something when the Nationals were in Philadelphia, folks on their staff said it's sort of a page out of Strasburg's book. That Strasburg has gone to this real long wait in between pitches when base runners are on. And the other players are sort of following suit. We saw Gio Gonzalez do the same thing.
Very deliberate.
Which Strasburg of the Phillies will not see in this series.
The way he's throwing the ball this year, that's good. That they don't have to face him.
I was thinking the same thing. There's Gio. They will face Gonzalez this week. Joe Ross was supposed to start tonight, but he's had a blister issue, so they decided to skip him. And with the off day, Scherzer is pitching on normal rest. 2-2 to Blanco.
See exactly what Max was trying to do there. Comes to a stop and then goes to the slide step. Talk about messing with a hitter's rhythm. You don't feel like you can get yourself gathered. The pitcher goes in and delivers the ball that quickly. Be rushing to get that foot down.
Now the ball stays alive. Lobaton can't hang on. He has thrown a buffet of pitches in these first 3 innings. He's thrown everything.
I don't remember having a pitcher that threw 5 pitches.
He's up to 45 pitches with nobody out here in the 3rd. Down the left field line, that'll go out of play.
Well, this isn't ideal to have someone be that deliberate out on the mound, but 46 pitches in the 3rd, I'll take that off Max.
Yeah, they are doing a better job with him than the last time. The seat, and the count stays even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A heck of an at-bat by Blanco. He homered in his first at-bat. Give the Phillies a lead. This will be the 9th pitch of this AB. That one's hit sharply to second base, bobbled by Murphy, flipped to second for one, over to first, and a double play. Turns out to be a 4-6-3 double play.
Murphy does bobble it, but Whitey hit the ball so hard. He blisters this ball to second base. Pretty much the same pitch he hit out in his first at bat. Murphy bobbles it, still has plenty of time to complete the double play.
Bronco out in front, and it's 0-1. He's kind of getting a little pull happy again.
I don't like that head coming off.
He wasn't doing that the first 2 games of this road trip.
No.
Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Coincidence that Michael and Bryce Harper, when they stride, they get back. They never really get back to even. It's more of an open stride.
And now Harper, at least, you know, in the times that we've watched him, looks like he has a little bit more plate coverage in the outer edge than
he does.
Michael.
He does. Michael just never gets back to even or square away, I guess you could say, towards the pitcher. Good one to hit there. You see his head though, Tom? If that goes, everything's going to go.
Inside, 3-2. Ground ball to third. Big hop for Anthony Rendon. On the side, is retired. No runs, no hits, and nobody left. The double play certainly helped Scherzer. We play 2.5 onto the bottom of the third. It's the Phillies 2 and the Nationals 1. By T-Mobile. Get Major League coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE since 2015. By Chevrolet. Visit your local dealer at ChevyDealer.com. And by W.B. Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. Last of the third, 2-1 Phillies on top. And Max Scherzer will lead it off. First pitch is outside and low, 1-0. Over to second base, and up with it is Cesar Hernandez. And there's one away, one quick out. Well, there's Abe Lincoln. And Abe Lincoln will make anybody smile. That's right, cricket, something to smile about. He's taking some selfies around the ballpark. And just as you would expect Abe Lincoln to do, he did a little dance.
Away, Abe.
Here's Michael Taylor with one away. Taylor struck out. And he lines it to right field. That'll be in for a base hit. So the second hit of the evening for the Nationals. And Anthony Rendon's coming up. I think some of the numbers, though, Velasquez has put up during his short time this year. His ERA coming in was 0.93. Now, he's allowed the run tonight. So it's up to 1.25, but fourth in ERA, second in WHIP, which is walks and hits per inning pitch, which is such an important statistic for pitchers. He has 29 strikeouts coming in, 2 tonight, so 31 overall. And he's part of a staff that now has 128 strikeouts this year. A starting staff. That's not just the Phillies pitchers, it's just the staff. Those 128 strikeouts are 15 more than the number 2 team, and that's the Chicago Cubs. I mean, where did all these strikeouts come from for this staff?
And a lot of them are on breaking balls.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected them to have those kind of numbers a month into the season.
I honestly say I did not.
Off the glove of Ryan Howard, and Taylor's going to go to second base. Well, that ball tipped off the glove of Ryan. He had to reach across his body to make the attempt at it. And Taylor reacted pretty quickly.
Just not able to get his glove to the other side.
Well, they scored an E1.
Yeah.
And it puts a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Inside, 1-0 to Rendon. Rendon flied out to Borges his first time up. Up and away, and it's 2-0. Over the screen, 2 balls, 1 strike to Rendon. Ground ball, diving stop. Maikel Franco gets to his feet, throws across the diamond in time to get Rendon. What a run-saving play by Maikel Franco.
He continues to do it with his glove. From our vantage point up here, Tom, That ball was hit, and I said to myself, oh, man, tied ball game. I said, this ball's got to be by him. And all of a sudden, he gets to it.
Stretching his arm out a little bit. That ball was getting right by him.
It was.
Taylor was about a quarter of the way off the bag.
See that first step? It's so key. But I just thought as soon as that ball was hit, I said, that's a pair. Tie ball game.
He has made some magical plays on this road trip. And now the Phillies are going to walk Bryce Harper intentionally. I mean, Ryan Zimmerman is no walk in the park, but he's not Bryce Harper right now. And Pete Mackanin has decided this man is not going to beat us, even if we're in the third. So Pete Mackanin's going to let Vince Velasquez go after Ryan Zimmerman.
Fans not happy with Pete right now.
It's okay. I think he'll live with that.
Yeah, he'll get over it.
Pete, who's on the verge of his 100th career victory as a manager, major league manager. Be a nice milestone to get tonight. Take advantage of special group opportunities, including discounts, theme nights, party areas for groups of 25 or more. Plenty of benefits and special options. For information, go to Phillies.com/group tickets. That guy looks like he wants to bring a group to the ball game. Anybody that's walking around with a stop sign, Ben, wants to bring a group to the ball game. So here is Zimmerman. He popped out his first time up. On the outside corner, 0-1.
Really stands far off the plate.
He does have coverage.
He does. He'll get to it.
This one on the inside corner. He didn't think that was a strike. That was a really good pitch. We have that vantage point that we always talk about here at Nationals Park. It's way over the top. We don't need a camera over the top because our eyes are that. Dirt. He wasn't fishing for it. Popped up. Rupp off with the mask, tosses it aside. He nearly tripped Angel Hernandez, makes an unbelievable recovery to grab that foul ball. And the side is retired. Well, one of the big reasons why is the guy that's hovering around third base, Maikel Franco, makes an unbelievable diving play to get Rendon and help the Phils through the third. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Let's go Phillies. Ryan Howard will lead things off. Howard flied out to center his first time up. Howard is 1 for 10 against the Nationals this year, but during his career, 42 home runs against Washington. That's third most against any team. Tops the Braves with 50 and 45 against the Mets. The curveball floats inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Fights it off, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike to Howard. Phillies will face a left-hander tomorrow. And Gio Gonzalez, so most likely Darren Ruff will be playing over at first base. Nationals have the overshift on. They have 3 men on the right side of the infield, which is the way everybody plays Ryan Howard. But they're playing hitters into the shift much more this year under Dusty Baker than they did under Matt Williams, even in previous regimes. In fact, right now they have the fewest errors in Major League Baseball. Now, part of that is that the middle infielders don't get to as much as, let's say, other teams. But Dusty has said that he thinks they have fewer errors because they're playing more shifts and they're putting guys in the right spots. And that has helped their defense overall.
Yeah, putting guys in the right spots to make the plays.
Last year they shifted 215 times. So that was significantly lower than a lot of other teams in the National League. This year they've already shifted, not counting tonight because they've done it a variety of times tonight. Coming into tonight, 68 times. They're on pace to shift 787 times. I mean, put that in perspective. Last year, 215. This year, 787. As Cameron Rupp is up. And Cameron fouls it back. Now, the way it's aligned right now, this is considered a shift. It's very subtle. But Daniel Murphy is shaded toward the middle a little bit more than where he normally would be in double play depth, and Espinosa is a step over toward the hole. No balls, 1 strike to Rupp. And that one is lined into left center field, a base hit. Howard's around second, he'll head to third, and Cameron Rupp on his way to second base, and he is there sliding. And for Cam, that's his 6th double of the season.
Get away, Cam. Oh, he's stealing bases in Milwaukee. He's stretching the single and a double. Pick him up and put him down.
Yeah, that kind of swing, it didn't matter where they were shifting.
No. That ball was smoked, too. Look at Cam. That's right.
David Lowe is now up with nobody out. Runners on second and third. On the outside corner. David Lowe grounded out to first base his first time up. Swing and a miss.
Where you just have to find a way, obviously easier said than done, just to put it in play. Most likely you put it in play somewhere other than the pitcher, it's an RBI.
Well, and I guess that goes to what Espinosa did for the Nationals.
Yes. Struggling
and just put it in play and got the run home. And what turned out to be a sacrifice bunt. Lowe fights it off foul. And it remains 0-2. Howard's at third base. Cameron Rupp is at second. Howard walked. Rupp doubled. Mentioned the Cam with 6 doubles now. As we mentioned earlier, he has 4 of his last 5 hits have been 2 base hits. Again, Lowe fouls it away. Foul ball, and he stays alive. And it remains 0-2.
Keep working, David.
Well, they are moving his pitch count up, and maybe he can get a pitch that he can drive here to get the run home. Now, outfielder-wise, Bryce Harper has the best arm of the 3. They're not playing shallow. I mean, they're back a little bit. They are, but you do have Ryan Howard running over at first base, so it's got to be back to where they are right now in order for him to score. If it's in even a little bit, he's not going to score. Howard over at third. Ground ball right side. Howard's coming home. Zimmerman's coming home as well, and he is out at home plate. Ryan pointed to the dugout almost immediately. Now, I couldn't tell initially where Lobatone's foot was, if he was blocking the plate or not. He had to reach toward the first base side to get the ball, so the throw didn't take him into it.
This is an excellent play by Zimmerman. Even with all his throwing woes.
Well, Ryan thinks he's got his hand in there.
With all the throwing woes that Zimmerman's had over the years, he makes a very good play there to throw at Ryan.
Lobatone was telling him to go to first base. He was pointing to first base. I think Lobatone was surprised that he came home.
I don't know if Zimmerman would have had a play because David Lowe runs so well. I don't know if Scherzer was going to be able to get to first base in time.
Well, the putout goes 3-2. Over to third base goes Rupp. So Lowe is aboard on a fielder's choice. Howard was going on contact there. On the outside corner, Hernandez. Look, he's pointing to first base. He was not expecting that throw to come home.
Oh.
But I think you're right. I don't know if he would have gotten Lowe at first.
Scherzer ducking for cover, but you could see that they were pretty much at the same pace. And you know Lowe's going to outrun Scherzer.
Absolutely. 0-2 Hernandez.
It's just an excellent play by Zimmerman. Because think about it. As soon as that ball's hit, I'm thinking, oh, that's great. That accomplished 2 goals. You got the runner in. You got the runner for Cameron Rupp over to third. You got him over. You got him in. Perfect. Didn't work out that way.
In the dirt. Lobatone keeps it in front of the dish. And a line drive base hit it to left field. Cameron Rupp will score. Lowe goes to second. And it's now a 3-1 ball game. An RBI single for Cesar Hernandez, who is now 2 for 2.
You got one to right, now one to left.
Nice job of hitting there, taking that ball to left field.
Excellent job. Lobatone wanted a changeup. Scherzer shook. He wanted a fastball in, shook again, goes with the fastball away. Does a nice job of not trying to do too much with that pitch. Hits it where it's pitched.
Yeah, Cesar now has hit with his 2 hits tonight. has hit in 4 consecutive games. He's now 5 for 10 on this road trip. And here's Velasquez. He takes a strike. He showed bunt. It's 0-1. There's one man down. Velasquez last time up with a runner at second base struck out. It's a foul and it's 0-2. Outside. They have to like the approach tonight against Scherzer, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's thrown 76 pitches. A lot of deep counts. I mean, he's forcing the approach, really, because he's not as sharp as he was earlier this season.
A lot of deep counts, and when the Phillies hitters are getting in the holes, Michael Franco did it, David Lowe, they're not just punching out. They're fouling some balls off, eventually putting balls in play. All adding to that right there. 77 pitches thus far.
Another foul ball, and it remains 2-2.
Make him work.
Mike Maddox, the pitching coach, in his first year, working alongside Dusty Baker. We're watching Scherzer labor somewhat with his pitch count. It'll be his 80th pitch in the night, the 25th pitch of this inning. Swing and a miss. He spun his wheels a little bit. There are 2 outs. Phillies fans, next time you want to grab Phillies seats, get the StubHub app. Not only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want, you can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by best value. We take the price and location of seats and show you which tickets at StubHub give you the best deal. So get the StubHub app today. So 4 strikeouts. Borges is coming up. Borges struck out his only time up. He's 0 for 1. Checks a swing. Pitch is a bit outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Off the hands. 1 ball, 1 strike. To right center field. Taylor on the run, back toward the track to the scoreboard, and he makes the catch. Borges just missed it. The Phillies settle for a run on the base hit by Cesar Hernandez. A little productivity for the Phils. Cameron Rupp's double leads to Hernandez's single, and he eventually scores the third run of the game. We'll head to the bottom of the fourth. Then may not be a better spot this year than going to Denver, Colorado. That's right, from Thursday, July 7th through Monday, July 11th, excuse me, right before the All-Star break. It's the Phillies road trip to Denver. Visit Phillies.com/Phillies vacations or call 877-833-7326. Home half of the fourth inning, and Daniel Murphy will lead it off. Vince Velasquez was a 3-1 lead to work with, and Murphy fouls it away. It's 0-1. Well, this has been a franchise record start for the Nationals. They've matched their franchise record in wins in their first 18 games. They're 14-4, 8-1 here at Nationals Park. But their schedule is going to get a little tougher over the next several days, as that curve is taken inside, 1-1. So far, they've played the Braves 6 times. They're 6-0 against the Braves. They played the Marlins 5 times. They're 3-2. They played Minnesota. They're 3-0, and they played the Phillies. They're 2-1. This is what they have coming up. They're at St. Louis, at Kansas City, at Chicago, as that one is grounded foul, and it's 1-2. And then you can even add the 3 against Detroit. Now, Detroit's a 500 team right now, but statistically, the teams they have played this year, none of them have been above the 500 mark when they've played. So it's a great start. I'm not trying to throw, douse any flames or anything like that, but they are going to be tested really for the first time coming up on this next road trip against some pretty good teams. To the right side, and Cesar Hernandez is up with it. Now, you can only play who's on your schedule.
Yes.
And their pitching staff went on. They can match up against anybody, but this is what we're talking about. 14-4 ties 2012 and the 32 Senators team that started 14-4. But this is a staff that is, if they stay healthy, they're not going to miss Jordan Zimmerman as much as people think, even though he has the best ERA right now in the American League.
Yes. But they're about to get into it. Those are some very tough ball clubs and tough places to play.
Jason Worth is the batter. He struck out his first time up. He takes a heater on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Two. One at 96, one at 95. He spotted both of them perfectly.
You could make a living right there, just throwing that same pitch over and over and over. He just did it to Daniel Murphy, but on the other side of the plate.
Up high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now that was just to change the eye level, right? I mean, there wasn't any. They didn't think Worth was going to swing at that pitch, did they?
Not up that high. It ends up being a non-competitive pitch.
Popped it up. Right side. Howard says he's got it. 2 away. Well, that turned out to be a competitive pitch right there.
You have to swing. It's going to be a strike. But yet you can't do anything with it. It's a helpless feeling as a hitter.
Well, Velasquez has thrown a lot of fastballs here, Murph. Maybe eventually he'll have to go to a 3rd pitch, but fastball curve has basically been his usage.
Yeah, fastball curve has been his usage. And, we've talked so much about that game 2 starts ago where he had the 16 strikeouts and used an awful lot of fastballs and curveballs. And then, his last start where he did not have the success, I asked Bob McClure what he thought Vince learned from that last start. And he said, well, you know what we talked about? He said, at the end of the day, his best pitch is his fastball. A well-placed fastball is his best pitch. And he said if he's going to get beat, which he was a couple of times in his last start on the curveball, he doesn't want to see that. He'd rather see him get beat on the fastball. So there you see his last start. Fastball numbers were up. I think if we're going to go back and look at it after today, he only has the 2 strikeouts, but both of those were on fastballs, if I'm not mistaken, and it's been effective, guys.
It's a 9-pitch inning for him here, Murph. You take a look at those numbers, pretty impressive, just as the outing tonight has been rather impressive. Collection of laminators and shredders. Whether you're preserving your best work or safely destroying your most confidential documents, Swingline and W.B. Mason deliver a cut above the rest. Who but W.B. Mason? Here's Odubel Herrera to lead it off, and a breaking ball for Max Scherzer. It's no balls and 1 strike.
3rd time Odubel's led off an inning. And we're in the 5th.
And he's walked his first 2 times up, and those walks that he has putting together one after another continue to be an unbelievable storyline, and he's pretty honest about it. He didn't say too much about it at the end of last year, but he said in essence, and I think everybody has read some of the comments and heard some of the comments, he said, I was too little a guy to be striking out as much as I was striking out last year. He said I needed to be more patient, and that was his goal. And he lines one into center field, a base hit. But he can also do that. Been on base 3 times tonight. His on-base percentage continues to rise. And it's nice to get the leadoff batter aboard.
If that wasn't the epitome of getting out in front but keeping those hands back, Watch him move forward a little bit, but just keeps his hands back enough. Still hits the ball very hard up the middle.
Fourth time in 5 innings the Phillies have had the leadoff batter aboard.
I thought his interview that he did with Murph after that tremendous game, he was 4 for 5, a home run. He was just very good in the fact that he said, all I want to do is get on base so my teammates can drive me in. That's what you want your leadoff hitter to say. I don't care if you're in Little League or the big leagues. That is what you want him to do.
Runner goes and pitches hit sharply over the head of Murphy into right field. Herrera did not bite at the deke. And he goes to third. It'll be first and third with nobody outs.
He did not bite at the deke because the ball was already by Murphy. The ball was hit so hard. I'll give Murphy an A for effort, but that ball was by him and he tried to deke Odubel.
Well, that's the second hit for Andres Blanco.
See Murphy at second base here. Tries to deke him up. No. Plus the fact that the ball was 3 feet over his head. That didn't help either.
So now Maikel Franco with 2 on and nobody out here in the 5th inning. Outside corner and it's 0-1. It's a broad strike zone on the outside part of the plate, but it has been a consistently broad strike zone.
Vince Velasquez got that same pitch against Jason Worth last inning.
0-1. Runners take their lead. Down the left field line. Worth will give it a look. It's going to be back into the crowd, and it's 0-2. Off the glove of Lobaton. Blanco's going to second base. Got a little trouble back there tonight.
Lobaton not the one who generally catches Max Scherzer. But that's just a good read by Andres Blanco. Go down as a pass ball.
Well, that's his second pass ball of the night. Blanco doing a little instructing toward Odubel Herrera with the count 1 ball and 2 strikes to Franco. Ground ball to third, and Rendon tags out Herrera. This is going to be a double play. And 2 outs here in the 5th inning. I don't know what you do in a play like that. I mean, he went back, but he went right back into the play.
Did not see that coming. Try and get back a little quicker. Right there, he should have made his move and maybe slid head first to avoid the tag of Rendon.
I think that's the only thing he could have done. If you're going to critique any of it, it's what you said. It's get back quicker and then dive back into the bag. Yeah, I don't know if hindsight, if he would have just gone to home. Here's Howard with a runner at second, takes outside 1-0. But that wasn't the play. He wasn't going on contacts. And I don't know if it was hit so hard. I don't know if he could have anticipated it.
Hopefully the Phillies can push one across home plate here, but That really let the wind out of your sails. Second and third, nobody out.
1-0 to Howard. Howard fouls it back. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Good swing there. Ryan's upset that he missed that one.
Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Reds and the Mets battling up at Citi Field. 3-0 Cincinnati. Ivan De Jesus, a 2-run home run for Cincinnati. Goes to third, and the ball is popped foul. It remains 1-2. They were giving Blanco third base, so that is why he took off. Goes again, pitches dribbled foul, and remains 1-2. Get a miss, and Howard strikes out. Side is retired. Boy, if you're Scherzer, you're thanking your lucky stars. He got a little lucky on a double play ball started by Anthony Rendon. So middle of the 5th inning, the Phillies 3, the Nationals 1. Ben Lively, the Phillies minor league pitcher of the week. 13 innings, no earned runs, no walks. How about what Tommy Joseph's doing at Lehigh Valley, playing a little first base, hitting .450. Now, he does not have enough plate appearances to qualify to be one of the leaders in the International League. Thomas Eshelman, he's pitched well so far this year. He's the Florida State League pitcher of the week. He came over in the Ken Giles trade as well. Ben Lively, by the way, was also the Eastern League's pitcher of the week. Tommy Joseph is a great story. Just to come back from the concussions, learning a new position. He's hitting over 400, 3 home runs, 9 RBIs. We mentioned he doesn't have enough plate appearances to qualify for the International League lead in batting average. Taylor Featherston, though, is second. He has enough plate appearances. He's hitting 382. As Lobaton fouls that one away, it's 1-1. Look at some of the numbers of the Iron Pigs. Offensively, there's some guys that are having good starts. Andrew Knapp is one that's having a good start. I mentioned Featherston, Tommy Joseph. Eflin is 2-0 on the mound. Appel is 3-0 on the mound. 1 ball and 1 strike to Lobaton. Hits that one to the right side. Easy play for Howard. 1 away.
We thought that Lehigh Valley team would win the majority of their ball games because of that tremendous pitching staff, but it's nice to see the offense contributing as much as they are as well.
Absolutely. It's good for everybody. The other guy that's playing very well for them in the outfield is Cam Perkins. I think we mentioned him a couple weeks ago. Kid out of Purdue. The Scherzer takes outside. Drive over the glove of Cesar Hernandez, and in the right center field, Scherzer has a base hit. All next week, CSN experts Derek Gunn and Reuben Frank, actually all this week, will prepare you for the Eagles draft day on Quick Slants, weeknights at 6 only on Comcast Sportsnet. And I'm sure they'll continue to talk about Sam Bradford and his displeasure, it seems anyway, about the Eagles moving up to the number 2 spot in the draft. There's Taylor. Michael Taylor singled his last time up, has also struck out. Down and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Off the hands, and now it's 2-1. This seems to be, and not only because he's allowed just 1 run, this seems to be a much more comfortable outing for Velasquez compared to his last time out. Sequence of pitches, 79% fastball.
Location of these fastballs have been really, really good. Really liking the fastballs down and away to the righties. Just a hard pitch to do anything with.
Balls, 2 strikes now to Taylor. Ooh, man, that was a close pitch. May have been a little low the way Cameron Rupp reached for it. But it's ball 4, and that puts runners on first and second for Anthony Rendon, and he is the main character in our precision play of the game, brought to you by GMC.
And you just saw it. Ground ball to Rendon at third. able to tag out Odubel. He's not able to get back to third in enough time. He's slinging across to Zimmerman at first base. Not a whole lot you can do on that play. That's a heck of a play by Rendon, and that is your GMC precision play of the game.
You know, we were talking about it during the break. What else you could have done? I mean, as you said, you maybe dive back. Then we thought maybe getting a rundown to get the runner over to first base. I don't know. I mean, it was wrong place, wrong time for Odubel in a lot of ways. Rendon's flied out to right, robbed of a hit by Maikel Franco his last time up, and he takes a fastball upstairs. It's 1 ball and no strikes. A little bit of a predicament here for Velasquez with 1 man down. Over to third. This should be 2. Franco's going to go to third first and then throw across the diamond. That was not a smart move. He gets the lead runner, but Rendon was able to outrun him essentially. He should have just gone around the horn, and he would have probably had an easy 5-4-3 double play. Easier said than done, but that would have been a better decision.
Kind of lost track of where he was out on the field. I think he thought he was closer to third base than he actually was. See, Rendon does hit the ball hard, but he's got a long way to go to get to third base. Set his feet on the bag and throw it across. And Cesar was going to be there at second base. This is just a lot longer distance to travel than he originally guessed.
All right, well now let's hope it doesn't come back and burn the Phillies, because Bryce Harper's up with runners on first and second. He's walked twice tonight. Swing and a miss.
That's why thinking ahead is so important in this game, especially if you're an infielder. Ball's hit to my left, where am I going with it? Hit straight at me. If it hits hard, what am I going to do with it? If it takes me to my right, where am I going to range to? You just always have to think forward in this game.
It's kind of startling to watch that happen. You just, even though he's a young player, you don't expect him to do that. The ball's 1 strike now to Harper. Runners on first and second. 3-1 Phils. Challenged him with a 95-mile-an-hour heater. And it's 0-2.
Those numbers. Runners in scoring position.
In only 4 at-bats, 10 RBIs. That's because of the grand slams.
Correct. That'll help.
It'll help in a big way and help fast. Smothers it. 1-2. Phillies play him to pull, as is normally the case with Harper.
You see that alignment.
Outfield is pretty much straight away, although Herrera now moves over to the right a little bit. Now the pitch. Change up low.
Make it happen here, Vince.
Both 23 years old. One is much more experienced than the other. Two balls, 2 strikes. Now 3-2.
Doubled up on that changeup.
Zimmerman's on deck.
Which I'm not totally surprised about, because it doesn't seem like he has a very good feel for the breaking ball. It's just the last 2 changeups came out of his hand as a ball.
Runners will go. And there's a line drive base hit it to left field. 1 run will score. Rendon's going to go to third. As the throw comes in towards second base, it's a 3-2 ball game as Harper picks up the RBI single.
Now 4 out of 5 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
And a play by Franco, which doesn't go down as an error in the books, but it goes down as a mental mistake, has led to a run for the Nationals.
Nobody feels worse than that man right there.
It was kind of interesting watching Andres Blanco. Almost immediately they talked on the field, and I think Franco recognized it, but I think Andres also was honest with him. So Zimmerman's up with runners on first and third, 2 men down here in the bottom of the 5th. Outside.
Look how many more pitches this is causing Vince to throw.
Total in this inning. I'm not really sure what that was. Time is now called as Rupp's going to go out.
As good as Bryce Harper's been all year, even last season, you don't want to see him in the box, period, let alone with runners in scoring position. And to have a play like that happen, when we're in ball games, those mental mistakes cannot be made out on the diamond.
Yeah, we talk about the margin of error. I mean, we say that often with this team. There's a very small margin of error. 1 ball, 1 strike. And a base hit into right field that'll tie this game up. Harper's on his way to third. Borges' throw will be cut off by Andres Blanco. It's a 3-3 game as Ryan Zimmerman comes through with an RBI single. See if Bob McClure comes out to chat with Velasquez. This has been a tough handful of batters since that ground ball.
We saw the Mets do it the last series at home, take advantage of an opponent's mistakes. That's what good ball clubs do. This is a very good ball club in the Nationals, and they're taking advantage of the mental mistake by Maikel Franco.
So Zimmerman picks up the RBI. It's only his 7th of the year. Bob McClure taking his time out on the mound. Angel Hernandez had forgotten about the meeting clock, so he just now started sprinting out. Daniel Murphy's the batter with runners on first and third. The other part of it too is the play in the top of the 5th inning that took the Nationals off the hook, where the Phillies were threatening to score more. Now it's a 3-3 game, and it's the Nationals who are threatening again. Harper leads off third, Zimmerman off first, and Murphy takes outside. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Murphy with good numbers with runners in scoring position. He's been an excellent pickup by the Nationals this first month, just as Neil Walker's been an excellent pickup by the Mets in this first month. 2-0.
Gotta be careful here. It's going to have a green light. Doesn't mean you can't throw him a strike.
Just have to be careful.
Just have to be careful.
And he does get the green light. He lines it out to right. Here comes Borges. He makes the catch, and the side is retired. But the Nationals do score 2. They capitalize on a mistake by the Phils defensively. We'll go to the 6th. Out of the bullpen and into whatever role Pete McCannon and Bob McClure need him to fill. Expected to be in middle relief area of the pen, Yenmar Gomez was slid into the closer's role 5 games into the season, and he has stood tall in late innings. The 28-year-old right-hander has delivered with confidence and delivered on all save situations when the phone is rung. And it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Top of the 6th inning, 3-3. The Phils and the Nationals, and Cameron Rupp will lead things off. It'll be Rupp, Lowe, and Hernandez for the Phillies. Max Scherzer watched his team tie this game up at 3. So Cameron, who doubled his last time up and scored, was also struck out tonight. Scherzer begins the 6th inning at 97 pitches. And he delivers a strike. It's 0-1. Scherzer for his career, 107 wins, 63 losses. Check swing, rough one around. He has signed a contract that will pay him until he's 43 years old. But he'll be a free agent after his 37th birthday, but he'll still have deferred payments till he's 43 years old. That's planning for the future, Ben.
What was the total contract?
Counting the deferred money? Let me give you the official dollar figure here. $210 million.
210. Yeah, I don't think it matters a whole lot.
So you don't think he should have planned for the future?
Tomatoes, tomatoes.
The #1 live streaming sports service is MLB.TV Premium. Everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. So Scherzer, without putting into his 401k, will be comfortable for a long time. David Lowe is 0 for 2. Have the Padres finished paying him?
A couple more years.
Outside, 2-0. balls and no strikes to low. Lowe has 2 ground balls tonight, both to first base. Ryan Zimmerman made a heck of a play on the last one to get Ryan Howard at the plate. Up high, ball 4, and Lowe draws a walk. So you got speed on the base paths. Well, speaking of speed, the President's Race took place a couple innings ago. How about that, Ben? Do you think they can see it all? They're doing a little moonwalk, and that's because of Dr. Kel Lindgren, who is a astronaut. He was here tonight to throw out the first pitch. So they were getting into character.
The tinfoil on the head, and then it's just the cellophane on the eyes.
Right. Okay. They didn't have the time. The Fanatic would have gone out and purchased an entire space outfit.
Yes.
Cesar Hernandez is 2 for 2 with an RBI. Takes a little high. It's 1-0. Clean job. 1 ball, 1 strike to Cesar. His first single went to right field. The other one went the opposite way.
The 4th walk by Scherzer.
He hasn't been his normal sharp self, but this is back-to-back outings. Oliver Perez is warming up with the bullpen. He helped tie the game the other day in the 15th inning with a drag bunt up the third base line.
Mad bunter.
I guess you would say it was a push bunt.
It was an error on the catcher.
That one is served toward the hole. Another base hit for Cesar Hernandez. He is 3 for 3, and the Phillies have 2 on with 1 man down.
A night.
And now Velasquez will bat. Dusty Baker with Jacques Jones, one of his coaches. Four 3-hit games last season, his first of 2016. We mentioned that he's been starting to swing the bat a little bit better. I think he wants out of the bottom of the lineup. All right, what are you going to do with Velasquez here, Ben?
Got a bunt.
1 man down, runners on first and second. He tried to bunt his last time up to no avail, and then eventually struck out swinging. He squares, and he bunts it in the air over to third. It's a foul ball. Just a little bit too much spin.
Such a good piece of hitting by Cesar Hernandez. 1-2. You get a backdoor breaking ball. Just put it in play. And you get rewarded with a single. Your 3rd hit of the ball game. Just a very good piece of hitting. It sure beats walking back to the bench with your bat in your hand.
Velasquez bunts it right in front of the plate. Scherzer hesitates for a moment, but the sacrifice is successful with 2 men down.
That's fun.
1-4 on the putout over at first base. So the Phils have 2 in scoring position, and Peter Borges is coming up. He sent one to the warning track his last time up. Dusty trying to get Scherzer through this inning.
I did not see Jacques Jones today.
You didn't?
One of my favorite people in the game. Always has a smile on his face.
Still looks like he could play, too.
There he is. JJ.
Yep. Contingent of players that were in the Twins organization at the same time. Playing together. He, Torrey Hunter, Doug Mankiewicz. I mean, they had some players. Yep. 0-1 to Borges. Runners lead off second and third. Try to check his swing. He went, says Angel Hernandez.
These breaking balls by Scherzer. We talked about the high fastball that Velasquez threw Worth. These pitches, they're coming out of the hand, and they're not even in the strike zone at any time on its approach to home plate. Therefore, a hitter can just spit on it.
Swing and a miss. He got it. So he struck out the first batter of the inning and the last batter of the inning. He leaves two in scoring position. The Phils have left 5 the last 3 innings. Middle of the 6th, it's the Phillies 3 and the Nationals 3. To you via Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By McDonald's, jumpstart your morning with a hot or iced McCafe coffee starting at just $1. And by your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit DelValHondaDealers.com. Bottom of the 6th inning, we're tied up at 3. It'll be Jason Worth, Danny Espinosa, Jose Lobaton. Max Scherzer chatting with Mike Maddox. He was trying to talk his way into going back in again. I think he realizes that he didn't have his best stuff, but he got them 6 innings tonight. Here's Worth that takes a breaking ball. It's 0-1. 116 pitches, so he was done whether he wanted to be or not. Oh, 2 to Jason Worth, who has been down no balls and 2 strikes his last couple of ABs.
He just keeps peppering that low outside corner against Jason Worth.
Got him. They wanted it down and away, but it came running inside. And a strikeout for Velasquez puts the first out on the board. Ultimate respiratory night is Saturday, May 14th, when the Phillies take on the Cincinnati Reds. A free Phillies cap to all fans. It's all part of the Reds weekend, 13th, 14th, and 15th. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com.
You would look good in that cap, Tom.
You remember when you were kids, you wore a hat all the time?
I still always wear a ball cap.
All the time?
Yeah.
What does it say? Ben Davis baseball camp or something? Ground ball to third. Espinosa will be retired by Franco. Well, there are 2 outs. I think it's funny that we've lived long enough to have the snapback hats be in when we were kids and now back again when we're adults.
There's even country songs written about it.
Seriously. There's Jose Lobaton. He's 0 for 2. He's flying out and grounded out. Swing and a miss. 0-1. 96 still on that fastball. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Swinging a foul tip, and he is down on strikes. A 1-2-3 inning for Vince Velasquez. Oh, the young right-hander continues to deal. We're even at 3 as we go to the 7th. Time now for your Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. A nice night for baseball here in Washington, D.C. We're tied at 3. The Phils and the Nationals. Velasquez 6 innings, 4 strikeouts. Scherzer 6 innings, 7 strikeouts. He walked 4. And he's done. And Oliver Perez will be the new pitcher. Perez has been good, Ollie, so far this season for the Nationals. 8 games, 1-0 with a 1.59 ERA.
And look who's leading off.
It's Odubel Herrera for the 4th time tonight.
What are the odds?
Shows bunt, takes a strike. Odubel turned and said that pitch was down. 0-1. Odubel's 1 for 1. He's walked twice, and he has scored a run. Outside, and it's 2-0, or excuse me, it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Perez with an array of deliveries. He'll turn his back completely towards the hitter. He'll slide step. He'll go with a conventional leg kick.
On the inside corner, it's 1-2. First major league game was back in 2002. As you see, David Hernandez, starting to warm up in the bullpen. It was poked foul.
That's some hand-eye coordination. You have your body and your head moving one way and your bat going the other, and somehow getting the bat on the ball to foul it off and live for another pitch.
Now, you were gone for the Padres by the time he came up in 2002. But did you see him at all in spring training early on?
Faced him.
Swing and a miss. You never caught him, though. He was never up in the minor leagues when you were still with the Padres, right?
No.
Minor league player up in spring training.
I believe this is this. Look at this wind up. Here it comes. Drops down. I do remember having a couple doubles off him in interleague game in San Diego when I was with Seattle.
Which in those games was a member of the New York Mets, a starter and a reliever. Andres Blanco, batting right-handed, takes a fastball for strike 1. Scherzer is explaining his entire outing to Joe Ross.
Boy, if I could have those 4 walks back.
Last year, Perez pitched for Arizona and Houston. He pitched in 70 games. And Blanco loops it down the left field line. That'll be in for a base hit. Worth will get to it, and Blanco's on his way to second and will be there with a double. He's got a home run, a single, and now a double. And he's in scoring position for Maikel Franco.
Have a night yourself.
Playing shortstop tonight for Freddie Galvis.
Doing it from the left side, now doing it from the right side. Oh, those lefties. Andres' mom's going to have a heck of a time getting that pine tar off his jersey tonight, Tom.
Little OxyClean Ben will take that
a
out.
Bit. That is the worst.
So Franco's up with the runner at second base. He takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Franco has grounded out 3 times to Anthony Rendon. Darren Ruff has come out of the on-deck circle. It's a pinch hit for Ryan Howard. Way inside, 1-1. There he is. Out towards center field. Taylor's on the run. Back toward the warning track. It is off the wall. Taylor falls to the ground. So does Franco. Blanco's around third, heading home. He'll score. And the Phillies have taken the lead 4-3. And Michael Franco is hurt. He limped into second base after stumbling going around the first base bag. It's an RBI double. But you hold your breath because the Phillies' best offensive player is coming up limping out at second base. Scott Sheridan, the Phillies' athletic trainer, is out to check him out. Boy, he crushed this ball.
Ball smoked off that left center field wall.
He just tripped going around the first base bag.
I think his left foot slipped over top of the bag.
As he came out of the box, it almost looked as if he thought it was gone.
But he never picked up the first base bag.
Right.
He's favoring that ankle. A lot of the players do choose to wear the plastic bottom spikes. Michael does wear the metal. You can see the nails coming out of the bottom there. But sometimes with those plastic spikes, the night moves on, you see he just slips over the bag.
Side. He slipped off the side. Boy, that's an awkward way to go into that bag. He's limping around out at second base. He's going to stay in the game. It's an RBI double. It's a 4-3 lead for the Phillies.
He's never picked up the first base bag. He was watching the ball the whole time. Of course, you hit a ball that hard, you'd want to watch it too.
Here comes Dusty Baker. As Darren Ruff has been introduced as a pinch hitter. So Dusty is going to go out, and that'll be it for Oliver Perez. He's going to bring in the right-hander to face Darren Ruff. The Phillies have a runner in scoring position, a run in here in the top half of the seventh inning. So a pitching change at Nationals Park. We'll be back to D.C. right after this. Join Ryan Howard and his teammates as they act out scenes from a book in the Little Rhino series during the Little Rhino read-along on June 8th. Proceeds benefit the Phillies MLB Urban Youth Academy through the Ryan Howard Big Piece Foundation. Go to Phillies.com/read-along for more info. Top half of the seventh inning, Sean Kelly will be the new pitcher for the Nationals, celebrating his 32nd birthday today. 7 games so far. He has not allowed a run in 5 1/3 innings of work. He's facing Darren Ruff, a pinch hitter for Ryan Howard. And he goes after a high breaking pitch, and it's 0-1. That was for Darren Ruff against left-handers and against righties. Overall hitting .200. He has 5 hits. Upstairs, 1-1. Nationals signed Sean Kelly as a free agent this past offseason. After last year, he pitched for San Diego. 53 games, an ERA of 2.45. The year before that, actually the 2 years before that, he's with the Yankees. One ball, 2 strikes to Ruff. Fouled on the left field line.
He's had some good swings this at bat, that's for sure.
The little guy got the baseball. Popped him up. Left side of the infield, Espinosa, the shortstop. 2 away, and Cameron Rupp is coming up.
Hopefully Cameron can come through with a hit here. 2-out knock. Anxious to see what Sammy would do. If it's deep enough where it wouldn't warrant a throw to home plate, he would most likely send Michael. But if it's going to be bang bang home plate, I'd have to say that Sammy would stop him.
I would agree with that. Fastball right down the chute. It's 0-1. 92 from Sean Kelly. Cam is 1 for 3. He's doubled it back in the 4th inning. Scored a run. Swing and a miss, center 22. If Cameron can get on, David Lowe is in the on-deck circle. Phillies have 9 hits. They've started to rack up some double-digit games, or double-digit hit games on this road trip. Ground ball to third. Rendon has it on the glove side. Padres retired. However, Maikel Franco has given the Phillies the lead once again. A booming RBI double to left center field off Oliver Perez. That scored Andres Blanco. Fortunately, Franco was okay as he rounded the first base bag and stumbled. as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Vince Velasquez and his 84 pitches is done. Darren Ruff stays in the ballgame, and he'll stay at first base after pinch hitting for Ryan Howard. And David Hernandez will take over as the Phillies lead it 4-3. Hernandez, no wins, a loss, a 5.40 ERA. He did pitch better his last time out. He had good velocity on his fastball.
You're right, Tom. He did. He had 2 innings, threw very, very well in Milwaukee. Was really spotting that fastball very well.
Matt Dendecker will pinch hit.
They said they would watch Vince Velasquez this year, and I think this is a perfect case in point.
What did we say it was? 84 pitches, right?
84 pitches, and since that, I guess you could say, mental mistake that Maikel Franco had at third base, he had to throw an additional 13 pitches after that. Now, you can never assume a double play, and we can't say that 100% sure, but he did have to throw 83 or 13 more additional pitches, and you know, he's looking at 71 as opposed to 84. So
went 2 to Dendecker, and he is rung up. A foul tip hung on by Cameron Rupp. That's 5 strikeouts for Phillies pitching. 1 away. Michael Taylor's coming up. It's time for the Major League Notebook. Murph, take it away, buddy.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, the Minnesota Twins have called up another top prospect. He is right-handed pitcher Jose Barrios, and he is expected to make his Major League debut on Wednesday. Now, the move is twofold. The Twins are dealing with a couple of injuries in their rotation, but he's also off to a hot start. He's their top prospect. He was 2-0 with an ERA of 1.06, 20 strikeouts through 17 innings down there in AAA. And the New York Mets, well, they're going to be without their starting catcher for the time being. Travis d'Arnaud has been placed on the 15-day disabled list with a rotator cuff issue. He was having trouble making the throw down to second base in their game on Monday night. They took a look at it, and there is damage to that rotator cuff. Now, this is the first time he's ever had any shoulder injuries, guys, but Travis d'Arnaud is certainly no stranger to the disabled list. He has had all kinds of injuries plaguing his career, so he will be on the shelf for quite some time, guys.
All right, Murph, we appreciate that. A 1-out single by Taylor. That's his second hit of the night. And that will bring Anthony Rendon to the plate. I think that's a huge loss for anybody when they lose their starting catcher. But somebody, Murph said he's been injury prone. He was injury prone at times when he was in the Phillies organization. But they don't have anybody that can play behind the plate like him.
No. Or can do what he does offensively.
Yep. Rendon has scored a run tonight. He's 0 for 3, though. There goes Taylor. He'll have that base stolen. He was off and running before Hernandez even got into his motion. So a stolen base, his 3rd of the year. Got a guy in the first base coach's box that can pick up little things better than a lot of base running coaches, and that's Davey Lopes. Elvis Araujo loosening in the pen. Eight more outs to go for the Phillies bullpen. Matt Belisle is the right-hander. Felipe Rivero is the lefty. Out of the bullpen for the Nationals. Their bullpen's been very good this year. Their whole staff has been good. 2-0 pitch coming. Fans getting on Angel Hernandez a little bit.
Close.
to assume that Araujo's up for Harper.
Out to right field, Peter Borges is there. And there are 2 outs, and Bryce Harper's coming up. And that brings us to our cold hard fact, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Lights. Our cold hard fact is about Bryce Harper. Harper's OPS is well over 1,200. Daniel Murphy's is right at 1,100. Dexter Fowler was having a pretty good start for the Chicago Cubs. Manny Machado has been fantastic for the Orioles, and we saw Ryan Braun this past weekend. So Harper is up, and he had Araujo warming up in the bullpen. But if you're going to keep Hernandez in, how are you dealing with Harper here?
I'm walking him. There's no reason to pitch to him.
I would agree with you. I would concur.
The fans will be disgruntled again, Tom.
Yes, they were. But he's walked 3 times tonight, twice intentionally. Get used to it. Ryan Zimmerman certainly will have to get used to it. So 2 runners on. Ryan Zimmerman last time up, single to the right side.
I like what David did with Rendon. 3-1 count. You never want to see him fall behind, especially with a runner in scoring position. But 3-1 challenged him, foul ball. Challenged him again with the full count, get a fly ball to right field.
Little instructional meeting out on the mound. You're bewildered.
Did he call the whole infield in?
Yes, he did. It's something on his mind. All right, so Zimmerman fly to center his first time, popped out in the 3rd inning, and then had the singles last time through the hole on the right side. The runners take their lead, neither being held on, and the pitch is up high. 1 ball, no strikes. Harper is peeking at Taylor. Keeping an eye on the lead runner to see what he's going to do. He's staying near the second base bag. On the outside corner, 1-1.
There's that pitch that Angel's been giving all night.
Expected a fastball there.
Gutsy pitch. And it paid off.
Two balls and 2 strikes. The runners lead off. And a called strike 3 right on the inside part of the plate. He throws him a changeup, and it freezes Ryan Zimmerman. So Hernandez strikes out 2 in the inning. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but Vince Velasquez and the Phillies pretty happy with the outcome. Phillies baseball is brought to you by your local Ford stores. By Jefferson, call 800-JEF-NOW or visit jefferson.edu. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery, play Escape to Margaritaville, the new instant game for the Pennsylvania Lottery. Player must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. Phillies on top 4-3. We go to the top of the 8th inning. And here's that final out of the last inning. That wasn't a changeup. That was a breaking ball. It sort of backed up on the inside part of the plate.
Yes, it did. Ken does a nice job of holding that pitch out in front.
And it's been a strike most of the night. You know, our vantage point again is up top, way up top. We're in the upper deck here at Nationals Park, so we can see down over the plate. And it looked like it crossed the inside part. Matt Belisle delivers the 1-0 pitch to David Lowe. Belisle is the 4th pitcher used tonight.
Yeah, we're on the lunar level here. Numbers are good. 1.59 ERA. Just the 1 walk.
He has been around for a while. And Lowe lines it softly to first. One away here in the 8th inning. And Cesar Hernandez, who is 3 for 3, will be the batter. Well, the Phillies in their 3-game series against the Washington Nationals at Citizens Bank Park scored a grand total of 5 runs. Well, they got 4 here tonight. There's Hector warming up in the pen, Hector Neris. And something's wrong with Matt Belisle. Mike Maddox is coming out with the Nationals athletic trainer. Dusty Baker's following suit as well. I didn't see anything when he threw that last pitch to David Lowe. All right, let's watch it. He looks back at the mound. Looked at his, kind of stretched his back, but then looked at his arm too. Look at him throw a pitch or two.
Be honest with me, big boy.
It looked like he did say that, didn't he?
Guaranteed that's what Dusty said. It's a long season. We got to have you.
I think it's decision time. Angel Hernandez. What do you think, Dust? I don't know what they're looking at out there. Whoever they call in is going to have as much time as they want. There's nobody warming up. There's nobody there. There's a couple of cups, maybe a few baseballs. That's it. All right, they're going to go with a left-hander. So that'll be it for Matt Belisle. That'll be it for Matt Belisle. It would have been quicker to go to the dugout, pick up the phone, than go through these signals. I think they understand who they want. Yep, and here comes Felipe Rivero. So we've got a pitching change and an injured player here at Nationals Park. Phillies up by 1. Defensive play of the game. This is a big one in a one-run game.
It was a big one on Rendon. Michael gets to his feet, fires it across the diamond. Very quick laterally is number 7 over there at the hot corner. Michael Franco as good as anybody in the business at third base. Nice play. That is your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Double switch time for the Nationals with one away here in the top of the 8th inning. Clint Robinson comes on to play first base, so he'll bat 9th, and Felipe Rivero is on, and he'll bat in Ryan Zimmerman's spot, which is the 4-hole. So Rivero's on for the injured Matt Belisle. So Rivera will face Cesar Hernandez, who's now batting right-handed. Swing and a miss and an off-speed pitch. It's 0-1. There was a long conversation while the left-hander was warming up between Angel Hernandez and Pete Mackanin.
That was the oddest pitching change / injury / who are we bringing in the game I've ever seen.
Well, and I wonder if the conversation was about the double switch, because Dusty made the switch, went back to the dugout, and then told Angel Hernandez, as Cesar Hernandez is down on strikes, that he was going to double switch and put Clint Robinson in the game. Normally, you have to tell the umpire when you're making that move initially, but that was kind of an odd change because of the injury.
The way Dusty turned his back on
he and Mike Maddox.
Belial, yeah, it's like they never even gave him a word. Like, oh, you know what? Let's get you out of this one.
Here's Emmanuel Burris, the former national, Washington D.C. native. Fouls it back. It's 0-1. Out front, and it's 0-2. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, White Sox have beat up the Toronto Blue Jays. How about the start that the White Sox have had? They've won 15 of 21. They're the first team to 15 wins. I think if you asked anybody at the beginning of the year about those two teams, just to match up those two, they would think the records would be reversed.
Yes.
Instead, Toronto is under 500.
See what happens when you add a all-star from the great Garden State to your ball club?
That's right. And a former Phillies shortstop, Jimmy Rollins. No balls and 2 strikes to Emmanuel Burris. And he lines that one softly to third. Side is retired. Phillies go down in order. So a scoreless 8th inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th here in Washington. The Phils with a 1-run lead. Inning, they'll go to Hector Neris, the right-hander, who is loosening up out on the mound. Hector, his 11th ball game, 11 innings pitched, 18 strikeouts. David Hernandez pitched a scoreless 7th inning in relief of Vince Velasquez, who went 6 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, 5 hits, struck out 4, and walked 3.
Hector has been excellent. Look at the strikeouts alone, 18 strikeouts. Doing it predominantly with that great split finger fastball.
Well, that's part of it too. You know, we talked about the fact that the starters have all those strikeouts, and coming into tonight's ballgame, they had 13 more. The starters alone, 13 more than the second place team, which is the Chicago Cubs. But overall, the Phillies staff is the leader in the clubhouse in the National League as Murphy takes outside with 195 strikeouts. That's coming into tonight's game. There's 6 tonight. And the Mets are second with 174. Outside again, 2-0. From a bullpen standpoint, it's Arizona that leads the pack with 76. Phillies bullpen is 5th in the National League, or I should say 4th. Tied with the Mets with 69. Outside again, 3-0. He swung green light with he swung 3-0 his last time up at the green light. Taking all the way here, it's 3-1. Ball 4. So Murphy draws a leadoff walk. Jason Worth will be the hitter. Jason Worth is 1 for 4 lifetime against Hector Neris, 0 for 2 this year. Takes a look over at the third base coach's box to see what the Nationals have in mind here with the potential tying run over at first. Danny Espinosa on deck. Worth is 0 for 3 with a couple strikeouts tonight. And he takes outside. It's 1-0, and Rupp's going to go out. This is a good visit by Cameron Rupp because Neris was missing wide against Murphy, and now he's missed wide with the first pitch against Jason Worth.
Seems like he's rushing out with his, especially with his front shoulder, his lead shoulder, his left shoulder, and the arm is just dragging. There's nothing. He's not able to get on top of the baseball. He's just dragging that arm through the zone.
Toward left field. Here comes Lowe, and he makes the sliding grab. One away. I didn't know if he picked it up initially, but he did. And there's the first out. Now Danny Espinosa is coming up.
This ball hit very hard. Just had enough carry on it for David Lowe to get underneath it.
Runner goes. Pitch is hit foul. Over the screen out of play. 0-1. Murphy will go back.
Daniel, not the fleetest of foot, but very good jump there.
Yeah, he looked like he was itching to run when Jason Worth was up. there. So that was a split right there.
Yep.
Kind of a change in his approach.
I think Hector saw that throw over to first. Espinosa has been very tardy on the fastball tonight. You might see Hector rush one in on him with a fastball, or just go right back to that split.
Put the split down a few times. He said no. Now it looks like fastball. 0-2 pitch. And that one's popped foul.
But that's got to be in a better spot.
It was kind of up and out over the plate.
Phillies pitchers have gotten hurt. See where Cameron's set up on the outside corner. This ball ends up being middle and up. Pitch Espinosa can drive.
Now, when Rupp put down the split, I mean, it looked like he was trying to say, no, this is what I want.
Then he wanted it again.
This time Hector's going to go with it. The 0-2 pitch. And there's a foul ball. As Murphy was going, he'll head back to first base.
It would have been a tough one to throw on the split down. Murphy had a good jump again.
What did that swing tell you, though? Would you throw it again? Or would you try to locate a fastball in a different spot?
I'd love to see a fastball in. I just don't know if Hector has that kind of command with his heater.
Got him. No, he had the command there. He got it to where he wanted it to go. And Espinosa's down on strikes. He's 0 for 3 tonight. And there are 2 outs, and that's 7 strikeouts for Phillies pitching. And now Jose Lobaton is the batter.
Just had a slow bat all night. I mean, that's just completely by him. Hit a tapper back to Velasquez. And then got jammed and rolled one up to Michael in the 6th inning. That one just right by him.
Well, Lobaton is flied out. He's grounded out and he's struck out. With Murphy still over at first. Phillies lead it by 1 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Go ahead RBI double by Franco in the 7th inning. Ball and 1 strike. One and 2. Well, he's got him out front. He's got him off balance. And now he's going to try to finish him off. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Lobaton.
He was leaning.
He was leaning. I think they're tiring Daniel Murphy out a little bit. They're knocking the wind out of him.
Run him down a glass of water, would you, Tom?
Got him. He threw him the split, and Lobaton is down on strikes, and Hector Neris is able to get through this 8th inning. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. A lot of fastballs early, but then the split came later. And so did the strikeout of Jose Lobaton. After the game, stick around because former pitcher Ricky Vitalico is breaking down tonight's ball game between the Phils and the Nationals. Only on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post-Game Live. Phillies lead at 4-3. We move to the top of the 9th inning, looking for a little insurance. 4 runs on 9 hits for the Phils, 3 runs on 6 hits for the Nationals. Rivera will stay in the ball game. And he will face Peter Borges, who will lead it off. Tomorrow, it'll be Jeremy Hellickson on the mound for the Phils. He'll be opposed by Gio Gonzalez. Game time is 7:05. We'll be on the air at 7 o'clock on Comcast Sportsnet. And then the final game of this series is Thursday afternoon. It is a 4:05 first pitch. Borges waves at the first offering, and it's 0-1. Borges is hitless in 3 at-bats, couple strikeouts. In the bottom of the 9th inning, Genmar Gomez will have to deal with Clint Robinson, Michael Taylor, and Anthony Rendon. With Bryce Harper due to bat 4th in the bottom of the 9th inning. There is Genmar. Rivero's doing a little Oliver Perez there. A little twist.
He's got good stuff. Pitch at 96, good slider.
And Borges is struck out and 1 away. And back to the top of the order here is Odubel Herrera. He's had a good night. Been on base 3 times. He's also singled to go along with the 2 walks.
It's a tough customer, lefty on lefty. Somehow the Phillies get another run or 2. Never enough.
Chopper back towards shortstop. Espinosa waits on it. Well, he really does have a strong arm.
He does.
You know, we saw it at times at second base, but you can see it even more.
Bazooka. What's wild is during batting practice today, he was taking all his ground balls. He was throwing everyone across the diamond with that velocity.
Well, a shortstop by trade, that's what he did in college, and he did it in the minor leagues to start.
That's how hard he throws this baseball. Gets behind it.
Andres Blanco is now coming up, and he takes outside. It's 1-0.
Get your 4th. The only thing better than 3 hits, Tom, is
the cycle. He's got a home run, a single, and a double. Just needs a triple. I would say he has to go out toward left center field for the triple.
a good park to do it in.
Plenty of space. 3 balls and no strikes. And ball 4. And here goes Maikel Franco. Franco 1 for 4. His double gave the Phillies the lead again. That came in the top of the 7th inning.
Make that 2-out walk hurt. Phillies able to get away with a leadoff walk last half inning.
The leg of Maikel.
Just off the calf. He hit the ground first, so it would be fine.
Thought for a second it might have been the same foot, but as you said, it was the calf. So.
Yes.
Way outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nationals 8-1 here at home. They're trying to hand them their 2nd loss of the season here at Nationals Park. Tied it up with a 90-mile-an-hour heater. Over toward third, and Rendon goes to second the short way to get Blanco, and the side is retired. 5-4 on the putout at second base. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. Here comes Genmar Gomez with a 1-run lead. Vince Velasquez tonight went 6 innings for the Phils, allowed 3 earned runs, struck out 4, and he was dealing tonight. He wasn't overpowering, but he was pitching to each side of the plate.
He was pitching, and predominantly with that fastball. Down and away to righties, was able to get a few in, mixed in some breaking balls, even a couple change-ups. He was just very dominant this evening. You love to see him hitting his spots with that fastball. Here a change-up to Lobatone. Lobatone shows he's not too enthused about his performance, but 6 innings, 84 pitches, just the 3 earned runs. Could have been less, but there you go.
Yeah, so he then gave away to David Hernandez, who won a scoreless inning, and then Hector Neris won a scoreless inning as well. And now it's time for Genmar Gomez to come on. Gomez is trying to close this one out. He has 4 saves and 4 opportunities. That ties him for 6th in the National League in saves. The leader is Kenley Jansen of the Los Angeles Dodgers, who has 9 saves in 9 opportunities. Luis Familia and Jonathan Papelbon are second with 7 saves. And Jeremy Jeffress has 6 for the Milwaukee Brewers. So Gomez will face Clint Robinson to start things off. Robinson came on as part of a double switch. And that was in the 8th inning, top of the 8th inning. Came on to play first base. Gomez delivers a changeup to start him off. Robinson's numbers this year, he has 1 hit. Outside. Robinson does have a hit in 3 official at-bats against Genmar Gomez. He's faced him 1 time this year, and he's 0 for 1 against him. Obviously, the leadoff batter is important in any inning, but you're nursing a 1-run lead, and you've got Harper looming as the number 4 hitter in this inning. There's a strike on the inner half. It's 1-2. Good spot for that fastball. Ground ball softly toward third. Charging is Franco. He's got it 1 away here in the 9th inning.
It's your closer's goal. Get 3 outs the quickest way you can.
That was a good pitch, too.
It's a good start. What's nice is he got him off the plate with a fastball before that. The pitch inside to bring the count to 1-2. Goes back down and away with a soft changeup. Gets Robinson.
Keller has 2 hits tonight. He's 2 for 3. He's lifted his average up over 200. The plan was not to play him every day with Revere in center, but they were going to get him at least 3 games a week. Dusty Baker said at the beginning of the year when Revere got hurt, he said, this kid is not your prototypical leadoff hitter. I'm not expecting him to take a lot of pitches. No balls, 1 strike. In the dirt, 1 ball, 1 strike. There's Harper. He follows Rendon, who's in the on-deck circle.
But as a pitcher, you can't think about him coming up. You just have to worry about executing each pitch and trying to get Taylor out.
Yeah, it's just for us to think about it.
It is.
We're just projecting. They work it away again, and it's 3-1. I think Taylor thought
Ball's down.
Yeah, I think Taylor thought he might call it a strike, though. Rendon waits on deck. The 3-2 pitch. And he got him. Cameron Rupp is able to hang on. And there are 2 outs here in the 9th inning. And now Anthony Rendon will be the batter. That's 9 strikeouts for Phillies pitching here tonight.
Just a run on that fastball. Cameron set up away. Ball ends up being. See where Cameron's glove is. This ball ends up. Wow. That's a lot of run.
So now Rendon, he's 0 for 4. He scored a run back in the 5th inning after reaching on a fielder's choice. Robbed of a double by Franco. And he hits that one out to right center field. It'll drop in for a base hit. Herrera gets to it quickly. Rendon holds up at first. So 2 outs and a runner at first. And now Harper's coming up. Don't forget, after Harper, it's the pitcher's spot. That was part of that double switch. Well, this is what happened Sunday. He was off until this at bat, and Jepson tried his 7th straight fastball.
Not fast enough.
That tied the game up. Eventually, the Nationals won it in 16. Who comes out into the on-deck circle. Stephen Drew out in the on-deck circle for the Nationals. Gomez's numbers against Harper. He's allowed a home run. Harper is 2 for 2 against him. Well, this crowd of 25,000 plus on their feet as Gomez tries to pick up his 5th save of the season. Harper takes low. It's 1-0.
Rendon, the thing about stealing second base, you have to make it. For that reason alone, I think he stays put.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
And there's no reason that if he does steal it, you're going to end up walking Harper anyway. Wouldn't you agree? Although he would be the winning run, I'll take my chances with Drew.
Yeah, I think you might. The outfielders are deep. Odubel Herrera backs up even more. 1 ball, no strikes to Harper with a runner at first base. Swing and miss. He got him on that one. It's 1-1. Threw him a 91-mile-an-hour sinker.
Such a violent swing.
Yeah. Phillies post-game live is coming up. Ricky Metallico standing by to chat about this one. Phillies trying to take game 1 of this 3-game series. 1 ball and 2 strikes. If he can run one of those fastballs away again or throw that changeup that's so good. It's got to be away, though. Sometimes he sits changeup. I don't know if he could do it here. Gomez throwing that sinker at 91, but it racing all over the place.
Yeah.
One and 2 to Harper. Popped him up. Cameron Rupp off with the mask, throws it aside. Does he have room? No. They've extended that netting here at Nationals Park, even beyond where Cam was. Phillies took 2 of 3 from Milwaukee. They now lead this one by 1 in the bottom of the ninth. One ball and 2 strikes in the pitch again. Ground ball toward first, a foul ball. The other day was spoiling fastballs. These are not fastballs that he's spoiling for Genmar.
Old Senator's cap. This is fun. This is fun.
Again, the 1-2 pitch to Harper. You're right, he does take violent swings. That was a violent foul ball.
That was a good one to hit. The one he fouled back 2 pitches ago was also a very good one to hit. I know this is a team sport, but this is just about as mono as you can get.
Gomez about to throw his 18th pitch of this inning. Harper's fouled off the last 3. Rendon with a real short lead over at first. He hasn't even thought about taking off. And the 1-2 pitch. Outside, 2-2. Baker couldn't ask for anybody better to have up there from his standpoint. Pete McCannon confident in Gomez. The 2-2 pitch. Chopper left side, charging is Franco. He's got an infield grass, throws on the run in time. And the Phillies hang on and win game 1 of this 3-game series by a final score of 4-3 as Genmar Gomez wins the one-on-one battle with Bryce Harper. So game 1 goes to the Phils. Andres Blanco had a big night. Maikel Franco had the deciding RBI double. It is Blanco who is our Chevrolet player of the game. 3 for 4, a double, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs scored. And the Phillies are back to the 500 mark at 10-10, and they are 3-1 on this road trip.
Great team win there. Guys picking each other up. Didn't have to be that close, but